600 there. Warhammer 40k still has a fascist problem. The anti-SJW fans, very specific fans from the Warhammer 40k populace, don't understand the Imperium is satire, capital S-A-T-I-R-E, also capital don't understand. I'm going to ask that question right off the bat to some of the 40k experts here in the panel. Is the Imperium satire? Yes or no?
The Ecclesiarchy was satire back in Rogue Trader, and it's still the most satirical element in the narrative of 40k.
Okay, so it isn't, but there are some...
It depends on how you understand satire.
Sure.
It is written in an extreme way, like when you think an idea through to the end of how something might end up, especially in the case of when it goes corrupt. But it is not satire in the sense of it's supposed to be funny.
Right.
It is sometimes that circumstantially, just like bureaucracy is funny in how insane it is.
It is not meant to be a parody of real-life politics. Whilst it is based off of real-life political systems, specifically the British government, especially with the administratum, and how that works, and you'll likely not get into that, but I'll probably end up blathering on for like 10 minutes about how that's set up.
Right. So when we think about satire, I think of like The Simpsons, South Park, like those sorts of shows which have all kinds of... Every episode's random. It's all about whatever ideas they want to share, and they poke fun at those ideas for how silly they are or how obnoxious they are, and they give a more obnoxious take, or they give a stupid, perverse take, or whatever. They could do all kinds of things to make you laugh. But the focus is the comedy.
Yeah, and that is not the case here. And at large, it is also not here in order to make you think, like philosophy would do. Like if you read Stanislav Lem,
sure.
The science fiction he wrote was in parts very satirical in nature as well. But Warhammer is not in the sense it isn't written to make you think.
Right, like we talk about The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's a sci-fi, I guess you could call it a space opera, but it's also satire. It's there to make fun of all these crazy ideas that might have mundane beginnings, like, you know, wearing a towel, but they're considered so important in the world of The Hitchhiker. So there's all these silly elements that we know aren't to be taken seriously, and it's obvious that's the case. In this scenario with Cavernacle, I think he's doing the opposite. I think he's saying, well, look at these the orcs. You know, that's clearly a satire of something. I don't know. Pick one. He'll invent something.
He doesn't know. He probably thinks black people.
No, they're absolutely a satire of Cockneys.
Really?
Oh, Cockneys is what you said.
Okay, I have no idea. I was just making something up. So
it's British football hooligans.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing to do with black people.
Okay, all right. Vladimir Dragunov, hey, how's it going, buddy? Oh, look, another person who doesn't understand any part of everything sucks. There is only war. Well, yeah, the world of Warhammer is pretty bleak. It's pretty like, oh my God, this is how life ends in a galactic sense. It just gets into war and everyone dies, and we're all crazy. We're all power-hungry mutants.
That's the worst part, Smud. This is in the context of 40k, this is the best case scenario. That's why it's so bleak.
Yeah.
This is the best you get. You don't get to die. You just get to perpetually exist.
Yeah, it's perpetual war in a certain regard, yeah. So.
Yeah, it's the one part to think about maybe is what if there is something so bad that it justifies and necessitates a governmental structure that operates as the Imperium does simply for survival.
Sure. Which is the same...
Because if you give in to any of the things that allow for the Chaos Gods to creep in, you're done for.
Yeah, like we're talking about essentially a dystopian city or or planet or series of planets that are so bleak and dark. It's like, wow, who would ever conceive of this world? But we see that satire, if you want to call it satire, it's very similar to 1984. This entire world or series of world governments that are perpetuated on the concept of war, information control, fear, all kinds of other base feelings that you would not conceive of humanity ever going that far.
Oh, and there's probably even one or two worlds in between all of that, forgotten and irrelevant, because they're relevant, that they might just be okay, like not awesome, but like, yeah, if you end up there, if you're born there, like, okay, life's not too shit.
Roughly
After all,
85% of all Planet 40K can be described as living in Chicago.
Okay.
Oh.
Fair enough, I guess. I don't know.
It is noteworthy if you come from the outside, but if you're used to it, there's nothing to write home about. And the rest of the 15 are absolute horror, like, terrible.
Yeah, you've got like about 24 or so factions that are just, I wouldn't say over the top, but some of them are really like extreme. And
absolutely.
Like, I think Bears, I remember we had that stream with Bears and Mateus talking about the Necrons and I think the Chaos Knights.
I missed that.
Yeah,
I think that was you, me, and Zach.
Oh, Zach, that's right. Yeah, that was just like, wow, there's so much lore. And to say it's satire is sort of missing the point. I'm sure there are some satirical elements, but that's not all they are. There's so
the
much.
amount of lore is mainly it is I've seen it a couple of times, and I think it's a good description, good metaphor to describe the lore of Warhammer 40k. It is a very, very large lake, but it is only ankle deep.
Depends on which angle you're looking at. Like, if you try to go, for example, with the governments at the Imperium, you will never find the fucking bottom. If you're going to read the Adeptus Mechanicus, or also called the Tech Trees, you will never find the bottom, and it is written so that you never find the bottom. That's the point of the setting.
Yeah, those are the better parts. But other things are just ideas from other IPs, just very blatantly copied in.
Yeah,
the Knights are one of those things. That's just BattleTech.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get going. This came out 11 months ago, and let's see. It's got 4.2 thousand upvotes and 1.2 thousand downvotes. I don't know what's happening in the comments section. I don't know the lore very well. People are arguing, but it doesn't seem to be one of his most popular videos. And this is the sequel. This is after a video he made about Warhammer 40k from 2 years ago. And he thinks that one was his most controversial, which that sounds kind of silly. You're talking about media. You're talking about a hobby of people who know better than he does, and he should just listen to them. It's not hard. This isn't like some political struggle happening in Uganda that there's all these sides and people and voices and media reports we don't know of. This is just a game with books that you can read and you go, oh yeah, this is what happens in the story. And
to him, everything needs to be about socialism.
Listen, you need to roll the d6. If it rolls a 1, you lose. If you roll a 6, you're good to go. But where does my socialism come in? Shut the fuck up and roll dice.
okay.
The dice are a representation of the bourgeoisie playing with the lives of people.
All right, Whisp, it's time for you to go up against the wall.
All right. Well, we have 27 minutes to go through. I highly doubt we'll get through that all tonight. So we might not even got through about 5 minutes because it's going to drive us crazy. I'm sure you guys are very passionate about this topic. So.
Well, I'm mainly exhausted. This argument that he's making here is just something that was a semi-popular argument to make at the time last year, when Games Workshop was pushing for all this Games Workshop Plus and maybe we should do female Space Marines. I wonder, and all this other bullshit.
Okay. Anyway, let's begin.
My more infamous videos now is when I talked about Warhammer 40k, because various right-wing YouTubers made responses to it when I was relatively still small on YouTube. I believe I didn't even have 10k. So what normally happens when you are a small YouTuber and you get like a video made on you by a much bigger channel like Arch or Arch Warhammer, as some of you may know him, is that your comments just get completely flooded by their fans and your videos get bombarded with dislikes and you can't really fight back against it.
Oh, so not something that your ideological brethren constantly do to get people cancelled.
Also, doesn't he? I swear I've seen his original video where he calls Arch a fascist.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, you throw stone and then you cry about getting rocks thrown back at you?
Yeah, it's the feminist meme of the feminist shoving shit over the internet wall and then cries that the shit is being thrown back at her.
Like, yeah, it sucks, but when you start throwing rocks, you can't help but say, oh yeah, shit's gonna get thrown back at me.
Yeah, but he thinks he's innocent in any of that. He doesn't think he has thrown the first stone. He believes in his little world that he has just called out as it is. He has just spoken truth, and Arch would just accept being a fascist. Why is he making a fuss over it? That's the way his mind works.
Arch Warhammer that is, has deleted his political channels videos, like all of them. But one that sticks out in my mind is that he took a political test around this period because he was like, okay, let's see, what are my actual politics according to the internet? And he is a green communist.
Oh, fucking hell. It's probably further in the green than I am.
That's great. But the thing is, he doesn't care. He doesn't talk about. That's not why he's doing things on YouTube. He's doing it because he likes the stuff, the games he plays, the books he reads. He's not here to profess political ideology. So, anyway, let's go on with it. Vladimir Dragonov, thanks for the 5. Everything good has already happened in 40k, and it's only getting worse from there. Does that mean within the universe, or do you mean...
Oh, that is the opening to every single book. Forget all hopes of progress through innovation and goodwill. Everything that has ever happened that is good has already happened. Like, all things that are good, all the progress we made, yeah, that's already happened.
Allegedly it's all in decline. The problem is Games Workshop now decided to screw that and just bring a bunch of Deus Ex Machinas into the story, into the wider story that just essentially erase hopelessness.
Okay.
We can get into that later, but
yeah.
As far as this video matters, everything that is good in the galaxy has already happened. What we're left with now is just a remnant of what once was, and try to make the best of it. And that's what the Imperium represents.
Fair enough.
And that is an interesting setting, because it is this giant empire in decline, and that struggles to somehow stay alive. Like, imagine setting your fantasy world in something like the decline of the Roman Empire, as it is just beginning to crumble.
Okay.
That might be an interesting setting.
Let us continue.
But now, of course, I'm a lot bigger than I was back then. I have a far larger audience, and I thought it would be good to go back to this topic, but not just because I want to. It's also very, very relevant again, because there's been a recent scandal in Warhammer 40k in Spain, which even prompted Games Workshop themselves to come out of a statement talking about how the Imperium is actually satire, which is what people got so mad at me for saying in my last video.
So we got Games Workshop has admitted, or at least the authors have admitted in interviews, that there is actually no consistent lore in 40k. The authors just write what they want, because Games Workshop's stance on that is, well, it's all subjective from the points of the books because there's so much, and so there are no contradictions. Everything is true. It's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. The Games Workshop doesn't care about a through line in 40k. That's why they can just rewrite everything as they see fit, and that is what's currently breaking it, honestly. And these statements, they're just virtue signaling. I read the statement back then. I don't remember the exact words, but it's basically this: Warhammer is for everyone except you.
Well, yeah, that. Like, I hate Games Workshop. Like, they are their own worst. They are Warhammer 40k's worst enemy. Like, fuck the old ones. Fuck the Necrons, fuck the Tyranids. The greatest threat to the Imperium is fucking Games Workshop.
Yeah. They're not that different from Blizzard that sprung from lots of its ideas. It's very... That is what I find ironic.
Well, I see a lot of space opera, even with movies like The Fifth Element. I always bring that up because it's classic. That have a lot of goofy, silly things, and you could say, well, the villain is kind of a joke on capitalism, I guess you could say, because he's a war profiteer. He's like, okay, well, he sells guns, but that's not inherently good or bad. That's just he sells guns. A lot of the comedy is not necessarily satirical, is slapstick. It's sort of like, okay, Sunday morning cartoon sort of Warner Brothers jokes with those aliens that are just cannon fodder. So that's also comical and action-packed.
All right, Smud, I'm going to have to stop you right there. Selling guns is objectively good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. American. I am sorry to hear.
Yeah, boy.
I got that wrong. Okay.
And how they are the bad guys, essentially, and they shouldn't be idealized by people because...
Who are the bad guys?
Wait. Who is he talking about?
He's talking about the Imperium because he's a fucking idiot.
The Imperium are not the bad guys.
He's an idiot moral relativist. Like, okay, the Imperium are the bad guys because they sometimes commit war crimes. Meanwhile, the Dark Eldar, the Tyranids, the Orcs, the Gene Stealers.
Yeah, we should probably explain what happened since Cavanagle does seem like he's eager to explain.
No.
So, in Spain... A guy showed up as the Austrian painter with an army that was basically set up as the SS with the using the Imperial Guard models.
Can I help you, Feline? Jesus Christ.
And he showed up with a full-on... his entire theme was the SS. And so his opponents were so uncomfortable around him because he played completely straight, at least. That is the alleged situation, since they didn't actually record anything of it or take pictures of him. But all his enemies just surrendered to him. They said, you win this one. I don't want to fight you.
And now you know how easy the Nazis would win if they actually turned up again. Because people are so fucking scared, it's laughable. So one thing that I don't understand, and I think that's due to Spain having a rule about you being not allowed to throw people out for political reasons. But don't you have something like house rulings that if you don't like someone's nose, you can just send him out with no reason given? Because that's what sane countries do. The other thing is that nobody dared to fight this guy when he had to be there, and thus handing him the win.
Yep.
Throwing the towel in advance. That is how the actual bad guys win. By good people looking away. What everyone should have done is just beat his bloody ass out the door.
I think we're getting lost on the fact that this is a crazy, over-the-top universe where everyone's at war doing crazy things to survive. When you talk about war, there are no rules. You could be as horrific and violent as you want, so long as you win. That's the point of war.
And guess what? Not only is that true, but in 40K, it is necessary for you to do that. Because you look at the characters like the orcs, sure, like you might want to go ahead and, if you're being, following the Geneva suggestions, you shoot the guy once, and if he dies, that's the end of it. The problem is, you can't just shoot an orc once, even in the fucking head, because they can survive and still keep attacking you with 70% of their head blown off. Ow, Jesus Christ,
it's a fucking fungus that if you don't destroy every single spore on the bloody planet, these fuckers are gonna grow back.
Mm-hmm.
But that aside, and this is one of the horrible enemy factions. The thing back to that tournament is fuck! I lost it because of the interrupt. Fucking hell. Oh, right. The Imperium is so big, it controls so many worlds that all can more or less rule themselves as they want to be, as long as they pay the taxes, deliver the resources they're demanded, like pay the imperial tax, and if you're supposed to deliver people for military duty, you're fine. You deliver on these three things. You can rule your planet whichever way you want. You can make it communist utopia as long as you fulfill these three things on the other end of it. There is probably, with these, I don't know how many tens of thousands of worlds the Imperium controls.
1 million worlds.
That's probably just a rough estimate because the bean counters gave up.
Oh yeah, that's canonical. They don't know how many worlds they have, but when the Emperor ruled, they had 1 million, so they stopped counting.
We got the achievement. Oh, now it doesn't matter anymore. There's probably one that is a bit more Nazi with the Nazi symbolism, just by pure random and like rediscovering historical shenanigans and misinterpreting them, and maybe they just look like them but are actually the most democratic people or whatever. Who knows?
They have
it's the 40K universe. It's basically RNG the planet.
Well, it's funny you mention that because Games Workshop actually made a German World War II faction, and no, it's on the Death Course of Krieg. That is British World War I. The World War II faction for Germany is the Armageddon Steel Legion, a planet that is filled with towering cities where the outside of those city walls are contaminated to shit, much like modern Germany.
Okay, so this sounds very much like you have the Batman universe, all these writers over the years making their own version of Batman, their own version of Gotham, only in this case, it's so free that you could write whatever you like within your own category of, I'm going to write about the Imperium, but here's like an offshoot of an offshoot on some planet far, far away that did something, and it happens to resemble Nazi Germany, or it happens to resemble the Power Rangers or whatever. It's whatever you want. And the creators go, okay, will it sell? Let's do it. And that's it. And that's the lore, it sounds like. It's just this crazy idea from a writer that becomes popular, so they run with it.
Yeah, in the Sabbath World Crusade by Dan Abnett in the Gaunt's Ghost series, there's a world in the book called Straight Silver. That was it. Straight Silver. That was just a planet that is World War One, like pre-World War One, Britain.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the entire thing.
It feels like back in the 30s when we had magazines of amazing worlds or the science fiction, before we had science fiction, of little short stories at the end of a newspaper, and they'd call in guest writers, and they would just add to the story, or they have this ongoing story. They would just add crazy, amazing things that could happen in the future in space. Like, that's what it feels like, only there's an ongoing label with a brand, and they've had, a dozen or so factions that all have their own crazy backstory. It gets keeping added on to. so that the lore is just this mishmash. And that's the point. Like, you can't take that too seriously. So to call parts of it satire, I'm like, maybe some of it is. I don't know. There's so much. So it's possible some of it is, but I don't think in principle, in the way that we address continuity, if there is continuity that we could focus on, I don't think we're going to say, well, yeah, we're militaristic, but you're comparing that to your concept of what is totalitarian, what is fascist now compared to 1,000 years in the future when we have only war. What does that mean? What is imagine a culture like a bunch of Spartans, but the whole planet is Spartans, and they have different flavors of Spartanism. And some use rocks, some use stone axes, some use spears, and oh my God. And there's all these crazy other philosophies on how to fight, how to kill. What does it mean to raise a child in war?
It's even wilder than that. It's like taking Star Trek and saying, Star Trek satire because it had an episode where Abraham Lincoln shows up.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't just take one part of the setting and say, because this had this, that means that covers the entire setting. No, that's the appeal of 40K. You cannot just say, it's very hard to say make a conclusive statement on the setting because it entirely depends on where you are, what you're talking about, and which faction.
Yeah. I would not call the Empire in Star Wars satire either. It's metaphorical. It's inspired. It's allegorical, if you want, towards the British Empire and the Nazis, both at the same time. Or was it the Dutch? The Dutch trading stuff.
Sure.
I'm a bit out of the loop. But I wouldn't call that satire. But it's just a reflection of certain things. 40K he's completely misidentifying the Imperium for being fascist because he already doesn't understand the term fascist. He never looked up the actual definition. He just goes by what communists tell each other what is fascist, and that is the evil stuff that's not communist.
Well,
or when people band together but not for communism.
Well, apparently he's already addressing the fans, or some of the fans, being anti-SJW, and we still don't know exactly where he's going with that. We have to listen on. But let's keep going here. Here's 3 super chats from Vladimir. Thanks, Vlad. For God's sake, some planets are called paradise worlds for a reason. Okay.
Ultramar.
Okay. The closest thing to the good guys are the Tau, and they still commit ethnic cleansing.
Go fuck yourself.
No,
go fuck yourself. No. They keep their population under the... Oh, my God. The leaders of the Tau keep their population servile due to pheromone mind control.
Yes.
And if they're really nice. They're really nice and accepting of other races, provided those races undergo voluntary sterilization to be a part of the Empire.
Yes, they basically take you over by being totally nice to you, starting to trade with you, until you become dependent on their quality luxury goods. And then to keep up that lifestyle, eventually they convince you to relinquish your reproductive ability, and eventually your species will just disappear. And those are the good guys? Fuck off.
See, I much prefer the Horatio method.
Again, the closest thing to
it's basically the Tower, basically the World Economic Forum.
The best part about 40K is if you really want to go with good factions, your options are the Harlequins.
Clowns. Clowns aren't good.
Yeah, which
also they're Eldar, so fuck them.
1, they're elves, space elves. 2, they are a literal traveling circus that believe in a prophecy that says that the future of the entirety of the galaxy will depend on a living embodiment of God being reborn and fucking an Eldar woman.
Okay.
And the second one is the Amish.
Really?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, Games Workshop is going to make it so that, fucking Robot Gilliman will actually fuck Yevering, and that child will become the child of prophecy that the Harlequins believe in. Because why not? Why not? Okay, Ollie, could you please stop biting me? Jesus Christ, cat.
The original through line was supposed to be an Eldar Psyker and the Emperor, but Gilliman and Urain, yeah, basically the same thing. And the Amish I'm referring to are the Eldar Exiles, which are a bunch of dinosaur-riding tribals that reject traditional technology because that's what led their race astray.
Jeez.
Ah, amazing.
I mean,
And there's barely
not
any
a-
of these guys left in the first place. Wonderful idea.
These guys are like the most numerous of the Eldars. But nobody
Really?
gives a shit about them because they stick to their own guns.
Okay, I've never heard about that faction yet.
Cool.
Yeah, but the threats that the Imperium is facing is actual gods that try to corrupt everyone with cult shit. And if that happens, you get actual demons spawning on your planets and lose them to what is just called chaos. And one of the ways to fight that is to not tell people that it exists somehow, which that's an interesting concept, because you try to fight things with actual censorship, if you will, but not the hard censorship, but the rooting out ideas kind of censorship. In this context, it's necessary.
Okay. Well,
That's and other things are these numerous insane other aliens aside from the Tyranids. It's if you know what Zerg are and Xenomorphs, it's basically that on steroids. And then you have the Necron, which are untold billions with the highest level of technology you can imagine or not imagine, of which most they don't even use because they don't bother with all these lesser species. The only reason anything else even still exists is because the Necron don't bother and are more busy with infighting within their own dynasties.
okay. All right. Here's probably my favorite super chat so far. If you're going to get me interested in something, I think you did the right thing. From Vladimir, there's literally a planet filled with 80s action heroes, and it was invaded by a chaos band. Said chaos band got eaten by dinosaurs. That is cool.
The dinosaurs have
is that-
lasers?
Ooh, is it? Are you referring to the Cadian shock troops? Because
No, he's referring to Katachan.
Catachans, that's what I was thinking of. Okay, yeah, the Catachan. The Catachan jungle fighters. Ooh. Oh.
One correction. They did not get eaten by dinosaurs. The plants fauna, or flora I think it's called, flora. The actual plants of the planet ramped up into space and grappled the warband ship down to the surface.
What?
Yeah, like
That's
Catachan is a death world, and it is is labeled that for good reason. And the humans that grow up on Catachan, the Catachan jungle fighters, they are some of the biggest, baddest non-space marines in the Imperium.
Well,
If you cannot fire a gun at the age of 4, you're not worth keeping around.
That is not an exaggeration, by the way.
that reminds me of the first season of Picard where there's that stupid flower that comes out of the planet and latches onto this freaking spaceships. Like, what? So where did that idea come from? Warhammer. Like,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah, Star Trek should not steal from Warhammer.
no.
Yeah, Warhammer is where ideas go to rest forever and morph into
All
weird
right,
things.
I gotta go read about the Catachans. It sounds so awesome. Anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah, but imagine this is the universe
they
you're
are
dealing with,
fashion.
roughly. This is the galaxy you're dealing with, more or less. And what kind of society, what kind of government do you think that just this environment produces? Do you have time to dilly-dally and dream about space communism where you don't have to work anymore? We had an AI revolution, you know, where you had this whole AI shit that the communists hope will bring about a utopia now. And, well, that kind of backfired.
Yeah, the Men of Iron was a slight setback on humanity's progress, we'll say that.
Minor one.
Yeah, just
It's
a
basically-
little
that's-
bump in the road.
Yeah, that's
you know.
the Dune part, effectively, of 40k.
Okay,
It's-
let's keep going.
But just like something like Starship Troopers, a lot of conservatives and people on the far right don't understand satire and instead think, oh, cool.
So he's talking about the Starship Troopers movie, not Starship Troopers book. Okay.
Because we all know Cavernacle cannot read, so of course he's talking about the movie.
Yes.
Even then, the movie fails at depicting this world as fascist. He just calls what I think the left is doing, or this type. Yeah, they see militarism as fascist, while militarism is a huge part of every communist country on the fucking planet. Mm-hmm. Even in 1989, we still had military parades with tanks in East Berlin. Just short before the wall came down. Don't give me this shit. You fucking socialists. You are the fascists. You coined the modern meaning of the term in Italy with pictures, propaganda pictures, with all the workers uniting and then the giant fist coming out of their joint fists together. That is fascism. That was the definition of fascism. That's where the word comes from. And they want to put it onto the right wing somehow, because that ideology, that socialism failed so hard that it left a taint. So they had to push it out of, oh, no, that's not socialism. Socialism is the good things.
All right.
Separate, we are weak, but together we are a mighty faggot.
Okay,
Matthews, I'm not going to talk about Krieg until he starts talking about the commissars, okay?
Okay. Well, if you guys want to read a great...
The commissars are the shit, though.
A good sci-fi book back in the day. Heinlein wrote Starship Troopers. It's fine. Yes, he was accused of fascism. He was making a story about ultra-naturalistic scenarios where what you have to do to stop an invading force, you band together.
I'd rather say patriotic.
Also, Heinlein completely BTFOs the science goobers, which I am also happy about.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. It's like essentially like the beginning of the book is like, okay, the world is shitty, and it's shitty because we didn't listen to people that actually did things. We just listened to a bunch of science goobers that thought they were smart, and then everything went to shit. And then the strong guys had to come back and put everything right.
Mm-hmm. Basically.
Well, Heinlein was also in the Navy, so he knows a little bit about being a military man. So that's what it takes to write stories with some degree of accuracy. I'm not saying the whole story is some perfect example of military exemplarism, but it makes sense in the context of fighting a war on a galactic, if not planetary scale.
And also, if you're interested, the entire 9-hour audiobook is available on YouTube for free.
Really?
You can also just read it because it's not very big.
That too.
Look at these militaries. I won't read into the subtext. I just like the aesthetics of it. So
because
today
you
what
don't
we're
know
going to
anything
talk
about
about
it.
is the backlash to my...
So he didn't read the books. He just likes the way it looks. All right, fair enough.
No, that's what he's accusing people of.
Oh,
which is a completely valid interpretation of being a Warhammer fan.
That's how people promote the game, is that don't look into the lore. You're going to get lost. You're going to lose interest. Take the ones that look interesting to you. Pick them up. Feel it out. See if it's something you enjoy painting.
Right.
Do you like painting fatigues? All right, go with Imperial Guard. Do you like painting bright colors? All right, go with Eldar. Sarah.
And then, of course, there's the entirely opposite. Like, hey, the game is kind of stilted and boring, and it takes a lot of time and effort and money to get any good at it. So ignore that and just read the books and play the video games and experience the lore videos, right?
Yeah, the ones
like
you shoot me were great. I really like them.
Or buy like 3 or 4 models and make a role-playing group like I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On top of buying a bunch of models I have sitting on my left side.
There are many ways to be a Warhammer fan, and Tabernacle missed every single one of them because communists fail, because that's all they do.
Yeah.
Also,
There are people who just collect the stuff.
Speaking of collecting, what is that on behind him under
Chocolate
his
oranges.
Oh, don't.
chocolate
Yeah,
orange? What?
don't even speculate.
He replaced some of them to now have this color scheme.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's a British thing.
Yeah, red, white, and blue. He's very patriotic for America.
Anyway, here's Zimzilla99. Thank you, sir. The Starship Troopers made as satire about a book the director never read about space libertarianism fighting another race that attacked first. Thank you. There you go. Fantastic. Very, very succinct.
God damn it, Vladimir.
Just for completion's sake, can we just define what the government of the Imperium actually is in 40k?
That's actually... First, Smart, could you read up Vladimir's super chat, then we can go into what the actual government is to establish a groundwork?
Okay, if you say so. This is the $10 super chat, the one in orange. Thank you, Vlad. Then there's Krieg, which pumps out millions of expandable clones.
Yes.
That literally have zero sense of self-preparation. And
Preservation.
Okay. And would make a kamikaze pilot say, y'all need to chill out.
Yeah.
Well, listen.
They run around in the
boys,
World War One attire.
Yes, they are. These motherfuckers. If you need a trench dug, they will get it dug in like a minute, and then they'll kill themselves.
Well, here's the thing: they won't kill themselves because they want to die. They want to die, or they want to sacrifice themselves so they can earn or pay back what they owe the galaxy, because they nuked themselves into oblivion.
Because it was due to a civil war, because one faction trying to separate from the Emperor, and the other faction is the one that won, and they feel like they have a debt they can't repay because of the stain that the Civil War left.
It was the aristocracy thinking, well, we've done such a good job at administering this planet, yet we keep having to pay taxes. That's not right. And then they tried to do a coup, and the military leader went, well, if we can't have the planet, no one can. And then nuked themselves.
Tactical nuke incoming!
And then they fought underground and, well, upper ground warfare in the nuclear waste. That's why they have the massive trench coats.
Well, I'm just gonna...
And them kick-ass gas masks, too.
I'm just going to point out that I think if Cav wanted to be a bit more honest and knowledgeable, all he'd have to do... all he'd have
Good
to
joke,
do...
Smud.
I know, but I just did a search right now, and all he has to do is do a search for the creators of 40K who said, yes, it is satirical. And that's great. Because a creator can say whatever the hell they want. That doesn't mean the thing that they wrote or what other people wrote within the lore is the thing they said it was. The same way we have J.K. Rowling say whatever the hell she says on Twitter, which has nothing to do with actually is in the book. So,
you raise a good point, because the death of the author that the socialists love to invoke so much suddenly is thrown out the window because the author, in this case, being the company, says what they like to hear.
Right.
So it's always cherry picking when it suits best.
I think that's an accurate statement in this case with Cavernacle, because his word or his favorite term to use to phrase the people who disagree with him as fascist or anti-SJW or anti-racist, or you pick any term, doesn't matter.
To be anti-socialist doesn't mean you are a fascist. It probably rather means the opposite of being a fascist.
Right. Anyway.
Being anti-socialist is probably being pro-humanity.
Yeah, but he hasn't brought that up yet. If he did it, we weren't paying attention, but we addressed this early on. I just want to reiterate, because just because the Games Workshop said so doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah, but government.
Yeah, right. So I will preface this with that comment earlier by Ego Dreamer that puts a very good impression of what the Imperium Civil government is. And Ego Dreamer said the Imperium is in dire need of more fascism, which is absolutely correct, and you will agree with him once I tell you exactly how the baseline, the most powerful foundation of the Imperium runs things. So, the most powerful body, at least galaxy-wide, is the High Lords of Terra. And the High Lords of Terra is a bureaucratic council that with each member being a representative of a larger body. There are 12 seats, which has fluctuated over the years, but usually returns to 12, of which 9 of them are almost permanent seats that represent the cornerstones of the Imperium, and that is the Lord Commander of Segmentum Solar, that is the Galactic Navy, the Lord Commander Militant of the Astra Militarum, that is the Lord General of the Army, the Lord Admiral of the Navy, as in the guy that actually leads the Galactic Navy. So not the guy that actually shows you around the galaxy, he's the guy that wages the war in the galaxy. The Cardinal of the Holy Synod of Terra, your, priest. The Abbot Sanctorum of the Adeptus Sororitas, that is the leader of the Bolshevicus, or the Holy Saints.
Ollie, stop. Jesus Christ, Cat.
The Captain General of the, basically, God Emperor's own bodyguard. The Chancellor of the Estate Imperium, that is the Chancellor of the actual House of God. And the Speaker of the Charters Captains, that represents the Imperium's merchant vessels.
Okay.
These are all permanent, semi-permanent positions within the council.
Okay, but out of all of those groups, there's lots of them. Which ones would you say have satirical elements or are satirical in nature?
The Cardinal.
So there are some.
Yes, there is, because 40K in Rogue Trader was a lot more tongue-in-cheek than it is these days.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in Rogue Trader, which lefties always want to bring up as being the point of, 40K was always just satire.
Right.
Forgetting that
you can grow beyond that.
Within a year and a half, most of that lore got dumped into the trash, except for the church. Because the church in 40K serves a very important purpose, and that is the unmoving and inflexible nature of dogma.
Mm-hmm.
It comes off as satire because it is exactly what you think a galaxy-wide dogmatic religion would be like.
Now, let's imagine...
It's a council-run theocracy.
Let's imagine the worst parts of today, like we talk about fascism, we talk about Nazism and all these...
We don't need today, just go into random history. If you look at certain parts of history, they read like satire as well.
Yeah, I know, but
finish his point.
We're coming to the point of, like, we're trying to address the lore, and there's so much, and yes, some of it's satirical, most of it isn't, but some of it's so over the top, you can't even properly wrap your brain around it because it's so crazy and violent. But compare that to the history of today, the ethics of today, the terms that we use to describe things that we know are abhorrent. So ethnic cleansing and atom bombs and all these horrible weapons of war.
Tabernacle.
when we compare that to the world of 40K, we're like, atom bombs aren't that scary. They're
Look, who came up with ideas like, to make the harvest better, let's kill all the sparrows.
Right. Okay.
And then we get a giant locust swarm that eats everything. That sounds like out of an unbelievably stupid story.
Right. So
what
I'm trying to get at here is that we have all these ethics and morals and things we find disliking because they're deadly and scary and all the things that we've learned our lessons from over the hundreds of years that we've been at war. And then we go to 40K and we're like, fascism is there. Totalitarianism, all these other crazy ideas amped up beyond our imagination. And to say that this is bad is like, well, no shit, but it's so far beyond what we could conceive as evil or even livable that it's like, okay, that's true. What's worse than fascism? A bunch of gods trying to destroy the galaxy might be a little worse. Just a little bit. So we're talking about...
They don't want to destroy it. They just want everyone to suffer for their nourishment.
That's bad enough.
It's worse. It's worse because destroying the galaxy at least means afterwards there's just silence, peace, no more pain.
Right. So
this is just eternal pain.
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to get at, is because he's like worried about, this is satirical because it's fascist, because it's this, it's that. It's like, dude, I'm sure those elements are there somewhere. But unless you know the lore from this book, which points it out, and then there's like 30 other books or whatever, I don't even know how many books there are. Unless you know that, you're just like cherry picking your words because you happen to like this ideology or you happen to know this vocabulary, and some guy said it, and someone said, hey, you should make another video about this because this is totally what 40K is, without understanding the lore. And this is what we always do when we bring people who know the lore in, they go, yeah, he's not wrong, but that's missing the forest for the trees.
Yeah, and a lot of us are pissed at Games Workshop because they don't give a shit about the lore being consistent in any way. They openly said they don't care about consistency.
Yeah.
Write what you want, because it's just a glimpse from that point of view into the Warhammer world, and therefore it can contradict the other things. Like, that means there is no external author.
Yeah, and I want to compare that to, let's say, Tolkien, where Tolkien has this whole fleshed out world, and he did all the details. Everyone could read it. It's all there. And the reaction to people trying to interpret that with Rings of Power or the games or changing characters around, people are going to freak out because this is not the way it is. Whereas 40K is such a mishmash of over-the-top ideas. It's like, well, what could they do next to freak me out? Not much, but let's see what they can do. And maybe it might.
Let me freak you out.
Okay.
So, I assume you've heard about Chaos Gods, right?
That comes up a few times, yeah.
Yeah. Have you read Wheel of Time?
Back in the day, a long time ago, the first book, that was it.
All right. Did you watch the TV show?
No.
Have you at least seen the trailer with those weird beast-looking motherfuckers?
I saw the trailer. I don't remember that.
All right. There are beastmen in the Wheel of Time trailer show up for a couple of seconds. Those are a thing in 40K. Those are often considered to be mutants that have been tainted by chaos and thus must be exterminated. 40K is such a wacky universe that the Inquisition, the holy body that represents a living embodiment of God, and the aristocrats of the Imperium have attempted to wipe these mutants off the face of the earth, called broadly beastmen, and yet the Imperium citizens themselves have told them to fuck off every single time they have attempted to genocide them. Because they are, quote-unquote, not as bad as your local governor.
Interesting.
Secondly, if you describe fascism in 40K, they would think that you are complimenting their governor.
Right. Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And lastly, eugenics. The concept of eugenics in 40K, as in picking out specific people based on their genes, is considered suspicious.
Oh,
and it's viewed as, what's the right way to phrase that? It's viewed as immoral in the Imperial man.
Okay.
In general?
In general, you're not allowed to practice. Well, you can practice on specific circumstances, such as Krieg, who dump the useless ones onto the minefields. But if you practice eugenics, you are viewed with great suspicion and will likely be purged by the Inquisition.
Interesting. Interesting.
That's kind of gay. That's kind of gay, let's be honest.
No, you're denying worthwhile hands in the Imperial war machine.
You can't do eugenics in softer ways than just killing the people you think are wrong.
Yeah, like, you can encourage, like, imagine if you bred, imagine if you get a Catachan woman, you breed her with a fucking Ogren, right? And then you raise that Ogren child on Catachan, right? And then you just keep doing that until, like, the Catachan jungle fighters are all, like, naturally as big as Space Marines. And then you just throw wave after wave after wave of them against the fucking orcs. Then we have a good thing going.
Okay. All right. Here's 3 super chats. We'll get on going with the video. Zimzilla99, thank you, sir. 40K stopped being satire for years. The universe, at best, is a commentary. The books are all are dour and serious. The satire argument is a straw man. See, I don't mind.
Well put.
I don't mind it that nowadays it's become its own thing because there's so much happening, and a new writer can come in and redefine things, or maybe do some retcons even, or just make brand new things. And I think Games Workshop is like, well, can we sell it? And they'll go, sure. And people might enjoy it. Because the goal is not consistency in the lore. It's, is it cool? Is it over the top? Is it violent? Is it, on a galactic level? how much fun can we have with this? Can we make this into a game as well?
The goal is it's not even about fun. It's about how can we sell more overpriced plastic to plastic addicts?
Maybe because I don't know if you guys. I think Bears, you're playing Pathfinder now. Pathfinder, the video game from Owlcat Studios. They're coming out with I think it's Rogue Trader, the one satirical element that Lal was talking about of all those 12 factions. So it's clearly
Rogue Traders are not satirical.
Oh, they're
I'll
not.
talk about the
No,
sure.
the original setting just had it was even more blatant in taking ideas from other franchises because it was just for fun. So you had Daleks in the original Rogue Trader.
What?
Okay. Let me rephrase. So Rogue Trader, the original book, for the first rule book, 40K, is called Rogue Trader. Rogue Traders are the people that fly around the galaxy with minimum supervision and are basically fleet commanders of Star Trek universe, where they can almost do anything they want.
Okay.
So
I'm a bit confused, but that's a very clear distinction between plural and singular rogue traderisms. And, and they're completely different. Yeah.
Unless you're specifically talking about the original copy of the game that came out in 1987, if somebody says Rogue Trader, they are referring to a group of free-loving, free-spirited people that are probably banging aliens.
Okay, interesting.
Very, very heretical.
All right, it sounds very heretical. Yeah. Okay, very confusing for people who don't know this stuff. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Vladimir again for the 10. Imagine finding out that a government deciding that the best way to deal with fighting birds was to send 3 guys with IMGs or LMGs and 1 million rounds of ammo was a real thing.
Flightless birds. There was an incident on our planet about that.
Good old Australia losing a battle to fucking birds.
Yeah. And
Like,
this is
bro.
the thing. This is my problem with calling things like 40K satire, because I cannot make the distinction between satire and real things anymore. When reality is indistinguishable from satire, then there is no satire anymore. Then there's just giving bad people ideas.
Like, hey, how about let's go for a even more recent one. Imagine a story where an entire planet decides to shut off its infrastructure for 2 years because of a cold virus that they've been experiencing since their species existed. And then after those 2 years, a bunch of science goobers come along and they make an even worse version of that, and they think nothing bad will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep doing this shit and keep doing this shit and keep doing this shit.
Yeah, sounds satirical because who would actually do that? That's stupid.
China.
Not just China.
It's a bloody planet, the entire bloody planet.
Okay, the pharma industry.
Everybody bought into it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's not poke fun at our lives anymore. Let's keep going.
Getting a little too real for you this
Yeah,
month?
I'm like, oh, damn it. I don't want to hear that. It's enough the past 2 years. Okay, Vladimir, wait till Smud finds out cat girls are canon. Yeah, I just found out about 20 minutes ago. So, yeah.
Have I ever told you about the backbreeding projects of the Nazis wanting to recreate the extinct Auer-Ochse? The Ur-Oxen.
I thought you were about to sell me a pamphlet to your religion, but no.
No. But like that was an equally insane idea because they wanted these ancient mythological creatures back that have existed in a very, very long time ago, and they're extinct because what they managed to create were actually very giant oxen, but they were all insane. And they couldn't be contained. There was a lot of rampaging.
Interesting.
It was funny.
Okay.
So things you don't hear much about. But yeah, this is all this shit that is in these stories most of it actually happened at some point in human history. So I don't know about the satire anymore. It's only satire until you know that, yeah, somebody tried that.
Yeah. Okay. Here's our last one from Zimzilla again. Thank you. Going off my last chat, look at the squats. They went from space dwarves with fantasy level tech and space into a proper grim dark faction. Anyone who says it's satire is a heretic.
Yeah, heretic.
The squats?
The leagues of vote. Oh, the squats were
Essentially
Space
Space Dwarves.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Well,
Probably after StarCraft 2 had quasi-space dwarfs.
yeah, once you...
No, this was
Character
this was
design.
out in 1987. This was way before Blizzard's time.
Yeah, once you open up the floodgates to sci-fi
Bringing them back
fantasy
like that.
or over-the-top sci-fi, that science is not... the focus is not hard science. The focus is over-the-top experience. Like what you talk about space operas, you talk about melodramatic ideas and drama, if that is the point of the narrative. The narrative could be whatever it likes. But usually you want some drama in there, and it's going to combine ideas from other genres. And it's totally normal. And we get space fantasy, we get sci-fi, magic, we get all kinds of stuff. So it's all permissible.
What I meant to say with that is that especially since StarCraft 2, Games Workshop has made a lot of models that are very similar to StarCraft units in general,
Right,
and
yeah.
Leagues of Odin.
the new dwarfs, they are basically they don't look like Imperium units at all. They look like StarCraft sci-fi units.
Yeah.
So it's even more blatant.
Yeah.
This in the style of this could be Starship Troopers as well. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, this is the constant issue of generic fantasy or generic sci-fi for the purposes of action or the purposes of violence or sex, or pick any subgenre you like, and you're going to say, oh, it all sort of amalgamates together, and this is what we get with isekai in all of its subgenres. It's pretty much all, there's some guy who's got some secret power and all the girls love him, and there's elves and there's dwarves. It's just, yeah, it's the same stuff because people like it, and it's like, well, we're going to keep selling it, we'll keep making it. So
Yeah, but just with Games Workshop just takes ideas from other people
Right.
and claims they're totally original. That is the problem. If they were more honest about their by putting in little homage pieces, I guess that would be different.
it's,
But their claim of being we're totally original, that is what irks a lot of people.
I would have to see more.
I'm fine with things like the Necron, which are basically Egyptian Terminators in space. that's like okay. We use common tropes and mix them up. That's okay.
This is like owning a comic book store where you're selling the same brand, same comic book, but you have anyone who comes in and says, "Oh, I want to write for your comic book. I'm going to include magical snowmen in space." And you're like, can you sell that? Well, let's see. They kill people. Perfect. Okay. So it's going to be like some aspects of horror and dystopia and sci-fi. And whoever's under the umbrella of Warhammer, it sounds like, so long as they can work the lore into it, which there doesn't seem to be a no or a stopgap to say, yeah, we won't do that. The lore master or the IP holder just says, okay, let's see what you can do. Which
Also,
means you get a lot of misses, I assume.
Absolutely. Also, Yes Man says, so space use? No. The Leagues of Odin are not space use. That's the Strixies. They are an enslaving species that would sell their own mother if it means that they can get something from you that they can then use to turn on you.
All
They
right.
will sell you a gun, or they will buy a gun off of you for a precious jewel and then use that same gun to rob you.
Is that the 40k Skaven?
No.
40
I thought they were the red people in 40k
All right. Well,
that were like that.
let's try and keep going. I'm going to read this super chat out. There's no questions, so it's good. Then we'll get on with the video. From Vladimir again. Thank you, sir. I think it was Tolkien that said the difference between reality and fiction is that fiction has to make sense. What a great quote, even if it wasn't Tolkien.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what from all the SJWs, let's say, since that's the term we use today, they love to use the excuse that, but it's fiction, it doesn't need to make sense. It's stories for children, it doesn't need to make sense. The exact opposite of that. That because it's fiction, they can just make up whatever they want. And that's simply not the case. But their ideology itself is at war with reality, so they will use every opportunity to denounce reality. Unless, of course, it serves their purpose, like saying, oh, but it started as satire, so it's satire now. That would, and that again implies that things can't change. They can't become something different, while in other instances they say, oh, but things change and they can become different things, like when we have to accept the Star Wars changes, or other things changing, or characters being replaced, or Bayonetta 3 being ass and changing everything.
Anyway, back to the video.
Also, reference to the last
recent drama and the problems with the far right in the Warhammer 40k community itself. Now, before we go any further, I want to plug my social medias and Patreon for about.
Oh, go fuck yourself! God damn!
50k recently. For every 5k, I get a new extra. So I made a video in summer 2020 titled "Why the Warhammer 40k Community."
He did. That motherfucker cries wolf when he gets attacked after claiming that another guy is fascist for being.
The Kumarnackle cries out in pain as he strikes you. Yes.
And that was only 3,000 downvotes. You got off easy.
Like, wow, people don't like my shitty opinions. I'm being attacked. Support my Patreon. So get more chocolate oranges.
People don't like my slander.
So, for reference, this was at the time where Games Workshop threatened Arch Warhammer's brand by saying you cannot have Warhammer in your title. That is against our copyright. Which, if you, in case you don't understand copyright law, companies technically have to enforce their copyright wherever they can, which means anything that has Warhammer in their titles and uses Warhammer products, which in their videos or whatnot, that they haven't asked for the rights to, they technically need to defend that.
Yeah. This is a legal issue, and the first part of, I didn't address the first part of his title because we all know it does not have a fascist problem. That is the nature of the story, the same way Heinlein wrote an nationalistic world government, I guess you could say, or at least the Americas, fighting against the aliens. So once you get over the reality of, oh, this is a different world, concepts of left and right and, you know, what's too much, what's too little is kind of useless, kind of pointless to start evaluating. Because you're in another world. You're in this hyper-violent fantasy world where things cannot possibly imaginably be the way they are from A to B, like from today to there. It's just impossible. The same way you can't imagine how Star Wars worlds became from today to there. It just does not make any connection, any logical sense. You just go with what you're given. You say, okay, I'm in the world of Riddick, and there's necromongers, and there's all these ghosts and people walking around, and they have all this technology and these superpowers. You're like, okay, that's it. We're gonna go with. They're not like eugenics problems or some sort of domineering pharmacological experimentation on live human problems. It's just that's the world. You accept it or you don't like it. It's up to you. Anyway.
Has a Nazi problem, Arch/Games Workshop. Now, generally the reception to this video was actually pretty good for a long time, but then Arch himself, formerly
because only your idiotic viewers watch it,
streamed himself watching my video. So I think my video was like 15 minutes long, and he made a 2-hour 15-minute video of
That's because
Oh
you
my
talk
God.
like you are constantly on Valium.
him watching my original videos. I seem to be very popular with a certain element of right-wing YouTubers.
Yes,
who
you're
in essence total.
Jesus
You're a
Christ,
lol
yeah.
cow. We
You
watch
are
you because
insanely
you're a lol
popular with
cow.
people that don't like you. Yes.
You're
Like people that
misinterpret-
like making fun of you because you're an idiot. Yes, you are very popular with that demographic.
This is like I go on dates. Like, let's say I go on a date every week with someone different, and I'd be like, you know what? I'm really popular with women. I go on so many dates. I don't, it's just like, wait a second, Smud. How many dates have you gone in the past year? And you don't have a girlfriend? Like, what? It's like I'm not paying attention to what's happening with my life or something. It's kind of funny. This dude.
lol cow.
Yeah.
Losers who have nothing better to do than sit around with like between 2 to about 6 other losers going through my videos, and while my video might only be 20 minutes long, they often make live streams between 3 to 5 hours. Can you imagine how
Motherfucker, don't talk about being pathetic losers while putting a poster of yourself in your background alongside chocolate apples.
So let me get this straight. he doesn't like when people like us cover him like this, and we're losers for watching your shitty videos. Dude, this is at the end.
Every line is bad.
Everything. Okay, this is after I'm done work. I'm chilling out. I'm hanging out with people who like talking about the topic because they're fans. So it doesn't matter if it's you or we have a positive 40K video or whatever. We're going to talk about what people like talking about. It happens to be you, and you're wrong, and we're laughing at your expense. So you can call us losers for having a good time, but we're purpose, like, we don't want to make fun of you. It just happens to be that way.
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
We've watched
Smud,
no.
Smud.
We've watched
I want
stuff
to make-
that's
I
actually
want
that's
to
actually
make
good
that
content
metal.
because it's good. It's good conversation starters.
Sure.
The issue with him is that he, and that's the problem with his entire stupid, retarded, reality fighting ideology, is that, as I keep talking about narcissism, and I believe at this point that socialism itself is a narcissistic ideology that is founded on this completely infantile mindset, and that doesn't like being criticized because it doesn't have arguments. He doesn't have arguments. He doesn't like to be criticized. It's okay when he talks shit about other people that he completely pulls out of his ass or comes up with in his magical thinking. But dare anyone says anything against that, because he's right, because he has it all figured out while he still lives with his parents. But we are the losers.
Well, this is his main form of income, as far as I recall. The same with Pillar of Garbage. Like, this is all they do. And it's like, okay, if that's your life, that's great. But if you can't perceive the fact that people go on stream, they play video games for hours, they talk for hours, they have good times, whatever, that's also perhaps their main form of income or their lifestyle. And you think those people are losers because they watch you and criticize you or whatever they do. Like, who cares what they do? How is that any different from what you're doing, calling an entire group of people Nazis or right-winger?
Isn't that what he does most of the time?
Yeah, I know, but that's his thing. So I'm just like, okay, if that's what you want to do, why can't you have the inverse of that, which is someone or a bunch of people looking at that and saying, you're silly. You're just being a silly little boy.
Because socialists can't have honest conversations, honest discussions. They can only survive through censorship.
Yeah, I
They
know.
can dish out, but they can't. How do you say it in English?
They can
They
dish it,
can't-
but
they
they
can't
can't
take
take
any?
it. Yeah, they can't take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet, he might actually enjoy playing a video game or a tabletop game on 40K or something along those lines. I'm sure he'd enjoy it. But because he uses his analytical mind with his bias towards whatever political ideology, we still don't know, it's bad. It's Nazis, right wingers. Oh my God, they're so bad. It's like, dude, give it a rest.
Yeah, I mean, we are like, you're obsessed with diversity. Every time we have this little stream here, it's automatically so much more diverse than any of your streams, because there's only one person, and most of your other socialist friends' streams, because they're all part of the same demographics, ironically enough. You have the occasional black guy, but that's it.
Yeah, well, let's not even talk about our personal lives or where we came from. Just physically, where are we in the world? Canada, America, Germany, and Lal, where are you from? Scandinavia. All over the place.
That already counts as Scandinavia?
Skull.
Cool. I mean, our views we're not obsessed with one or two or one particular religion or philosophy or political agenda. We're just enjoying media. And this happens to be media, and you are missing the mark. He is so off base. And if he would just have an honest conversation with other people that know the lore, that's all I'm asking. I don't even want him to talk to us because there's no chance of that happening, and I don't really care. If he would just have
would never speak with Kevin. Let's be honest, Kevin. And yeah, that's a very good point. Kevin Acker would never speak to Bears or me or anyone else for that matter that cares about the lore because he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, like
he's just another bludgeon.
He bothered to dress Arch, and if Arch, I'm sure Arch is a nice guy. He would sit down with Cavernacle, no problem. Say, hey, buddy, what's your problem? Why do you think there's Nazis in, or whatever he means by Warhammer having a fascism? I don't even know what he means exactly.
He doesn't mean anything. He has no substance in what he says.
Yeah, he only wants Warhammer to be another propaganda tool for his socialist ideology. That is all SJWs, as the modern term is. They're just socialists. They're just socialist activists, agitation propagandists, want anything to be, everything to be. Every hobby they go in, every interest group, every movement, it's just they go in and want to make it about, it has to be about socialism, otherwise you're a bad guy. That's all. That's the only reason they care about it. And if it dies from that, they don't care. That's why they don't care if Warhammer would die from it. That's why they don't care if any video game series dies from it once it goes woke. They don't care that when something goes woke, it will go broke. They care about it spreading propaganda while it exists still. And that's it.
All right.
That's it.
Let's keep going. Here's Vladimir some more, and we got Gingaman as well in the super chats. Serious question, is there any actual definition of far right that isn't vague enough to be anyone 2 centimeters right of Marx? But we always ask about.
Not really. Not in the modern day. The closest way you can dig that up, and I would have to read up on that again, is during the early French democracies, their first parliaments, where that was basically is where the terminology comes from. The factions that sat on the left side of the room and the factions that sat more on the right side of the room. And you had the spectrum going through that. And that's where this terminology comes from, but the meanings of what is left and right has completely changed. And it's basically, at this point, just that. Left is everything that is socialist, and right is everything that is not socialist. And being not socialist is being evil in these people's eyes because they don't want to accept history that proves the opposite. Okay. You could say an idea would be that politically right-wing might be monarchy, although that's also relevant. You can have socialism under a monarchy as well, if you which is also in a way what 40k does in a way, because they basically act like nobles. The High Council, they're basically immortal through technology, right?
Essentially.
Okay.
At the moment they die, the next person in line in their organization will take their position.
Yeah, that sounds very, very monarchy-esque in a way.
All right. Let's keep going. Long man bad. He said it. Yeah, we got it. And here's Gingaman. Yes, Cav, your original video was so well received. Even the Smudcast responded to it almost 2 years ago. I'm calling it now. I half expect Cav to respond to this stream a la Pog. All right, it's possible. He's
Again,
got to
I'd be
make a
down-
living, right? He's got to do something.
I'd be
Yeah.
down for speaking with Mr. Tabernacle. Although, again, I doubt he would ever speak to anyone below him. Because listen, he's a small YouTuber that shouldn't be attacked by greater people, but he would probably not spend any time on speaking to the inferiors.
Well, no.
Also, he can't risk being actually disproven in a live conversation.
Yeah, no, he can't speak to professionals or people who know the content or the lore or who actually played the games or read the books. He can't do that because as soon as he does, they're going to have a mountain of information disproving what he says because he does not know.
Like, you don't even need a mountain of information. You need like 3 shiny pebbles.
I was just now I'm just imagining going up to Mr. Tabernacle going, okay, Mr. Tabernacle, you probably haven't heard of this. There's this thing called the Administratum, so please tell me, where on the processing line do you see the fascism?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you have to do what the government says. That's socialism.
That
too.
never happens in communism, as we all know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not even halfway done. We're not even going to get close to halfway done today. I don't want to get close to halfway done. I want to get done now, but we're going to keep going for a few more minutes because he's not addressing. He's just
And people in communism want food, Smud. You can't always get what you want.
okay. Yeah.
We could also just be completely quiet and pretend to listen.
We're listening. He's just not saying very meaningful things yet. He hasn't gotten to his argument. We're just waiting for him to finish.
He
I'm now
doesn't want
wondering
us
how
to be-
people can unironically watch him talking like I do when I am about to fall asleep from complete exhaustion of several days sleep deprivation.
Okay. Well,
What I'm saying is that he's complaining that, oh, people spend way longer than my videos to talk about it. And I said, okay, if you want to play that game, why don't we just play the entire video and then shit on it? If you want to play that fucking game.
I mean, I could cut this up. I could download the video that we made here, cut it up to key points, and that'll be fine. I don't really care. But
Yeah, it's such an arbitrary measurement.
oh, they spent so many hours. It's like, yeah, that's because you say crazy shit, and it takes us several hours to go through every single stupid thing you've said. Anyway.
Having that much spare time where you can watch a YouTube video that is under half an hour with a bunch of other men.
Wow, people have spare time in the evenings to do whatever they want, Cav. Wow, it's called having a life, buddy.
Yeah, it's also called having days off from work.
Or just
What?
hours
He
off
works?
work.
Some people don't
No.
have dinner in the evenings. I don't eat dinner in the evenings. I only have one meal a day. I have lots of time in my evenings to do whatever the hell I want. I like hanging out with my friends.
Based OMAD lifestyle.
Yes.
I
wish I had less time.
I work till about 1:30 in the afternoon, like on average. Then I come home and do all my chores, and then I sit down and talk to you guys on stream.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a hard life to achieve, even with a full-time job.
And I'm sure it takes him at least an hour or two to do his one take. Or it's one take, but he cuts it here and there for whatever reason. That still takes time. Like, how do you have the time in your day to do that, Cav? And then you bake the video. That takes another 30 minutes or whatever, however fast your computer is. Then you upload
It's
the
okay
video.
when he does it.
That takes at least 2 hours, dude. 2 hours to produce and make and upload this video. And then you put all your
it's fine when he does it.
Well, yeah, but then he puts all his shit on Reddit, and then he has his keywords and does all his research to find out what's popular. Marketing. Oh, it takes so long to do marketing. Oh, no.
Also, P-Life is signing off. Good night, my guy.
Alrighty, let's keep going.
Also, I hate capitalism. Buy my shirt. Thank you, Igo. That's a great point.
And talk about it for hours and hours and hours.
And it really is so incredibly sad.
And it's actually just quite embarrassing. Like, imagine having any...
Long man band.
Jenny Nichols.
Long man band.
It's sad
Massive
of
YouTube.
shitting on a retarded woman.
How is that not entertaining for some people, Cav? Apparently more entertaining than you.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who give those
Fucking
idiots
idiot.
money. That's sad.
Yeah, those idiots should be giving us money.
It's justified. It's
Subscribe to my
justified
Patreon that
making
doesn't
fun
exist.
of the idiocy of other people. That's why we have Darwin Awards.
This is why we have the news these days. Like, ever watch Fox News? I don't know if you guys watch. I'm Canadian. We get the Fox News channel. Holy hell, Democrats are scary. I'm just
they're socialists.
I'm just casually going through the channels. I'm casually on my phone. I was like, "What's that?" He said, "What?" You're just like, "This is happening. This is in real time," and people don't know this. As a Canadian, I'm like, "This is a spectator sport, as it always been, but it's never been this goofy. It's never been this crazy." And people are not aware of that because Fox News is right wing. It's like, yeah, but that's because all they're doing is reporting the news and going, "This is insane. See you at 9:00 for prime time." It's like, that's it. It's like, hey, this is what happened in the world powers that be, who happen to be controlled by the left-leaning Democratic Party of America right now.
Leaning. It's such a euphemism. It's run by socialists, for fuck's sake. They're
Sorry.
part of the Progressive Alliance, which is an international socialist body that houses not just the Democrat Party of the United States, but funny things like
Congratulations, Smud, you started her.
Yeah, I know.
The Communist Revolutionary Party of some backwater African country.
Yeah.
Look up the list. It's great. It's great. You read that list and tell me the Democrats are not socialists.
Well, it's just sad. No one knows what NATO is these days, and they don't know what's happening in Eastern Europe right now. And it's like, okay, well, it takes 2 minutes to find that out.
I can tell you, we don't have any gas anymore. Can you imagine Germany without gas?
I heard some really scary things. Germany is dismantling a plant to make a coal mine or something like that.
I remember a very specific period in Germany's history where they were constantly running out of gas.
Yes.
Okay. I know what you're talking about.
No, that was oil that we were running out.
Okay. Let's keep going.
Do this. But anyway, Archer's video got 27k views, 1.7k likes. But of course, what happens when stuff like this is done? They all came to my video, and I got ratioed, and my video...
You got more dislikes than he got likes.
And 3.3k dislikes. I'd say that's probably one of my...
Hey, you numbnut. You got more dislikes than Arch got likes on your screenshot. How's that his fault? Maybe you're just so bloody dumb that your video made the rounds in the Warhammer community. I know, for like, who is this idiot?
That's what these people don't understand. Those that come from the outside looking in. The Warhammer community will always take in people that are interested in the setting. Even if they're fucking grifters like Gluten that came in from a failed YouTube gaming channel, where he spends most of his videos just making his own fan fiction about the setting. Yeah, people will still accept him because he seems interested in the setting. Tabernacle has no interest in the setting, and he's actively antagonizing those that like the setting. Because we're losers that don't fulfill the 15-minute quota, otherwise long man bad.
And I don't see wrong with stories that do in fact have fascism, like the... was it The Man in the High Castle, I think, from... that was... Jake...
Dickens?
Not Dickens, sorry.
Not Dickens?
No. It's the guy who experimented on drugs when he wrote sci-fi. What the hell was his name again?
Oh, that
Peter K.
makes
Dick.
it so much...
Philip K. Dick, there you go. Philip K. Dick.
See, there was a Dick in the name. You know, saying the guy who did drugs
Charles
to write
Dickens?
sci-fi is that's not narrowing it down.
But Charles Dickens is a little bit different, I think.
I am totally exhausted. I keep forgetting more and more stuff lately. Anyway,
Yes. There's nothing wrong with having totalitarianism in a fictional story, where that's the point.
Yeah, the written story was good. The show was absolute garbage.
Oh, don't talk about the show.
Oh my god. And that was not fascism either. That was Nazi stuff. Nazis are not fascists. The Italians were fascists. There are very big differences between the two, that these guys like Tabernacle for 100 years have tried to just throw into the same pot because they both failed and very badly. And if you look deeper into that and into the differences, you start to realize, okay, that's a different kind of insanity. They're both insane, but they're very different kinds of insanity. Just on a side note.
Okay.
I think we need to untangle this stuff.
Along with the Moon Man one, but the context is very different for that, because when you type in Moon Man, my video comes up because all Moon
We don't
Man
care.
content is essentially banned off YouTube, whereas this one is just someone directing their followers essentially to my channel.
No, they're
now,
not.
I
Not do
find it
that.
quite bizarre. He even chose to live stream my video because I literally show screenshots of him using racial slurs in his own Discord, and this guy often claims that he's not on the.
How's that racial slurs with the black people
The
being
word,
liberated?
the word black people or the phrase black people is a racial slur since when? I think black people have a few racial slurs they'd like to share with you, Cav, in case you are never ignorant of the fact that people have been...
Are you telling me to use my abilities there?
No.
This
That's
is
all
a
right.
wonderful conversation. Look at this wonderful conversation. No, the N-word is not a smart creature prone to violent outbursts. The black man is just fine. In the immortal words of Chris Rock, there are black people and there are N-words, and N-words have to go. Next guy says, there are white people and then there are socialists. No. There are people and there are socialists.
Again,
Oh.
Arch is one of the biggest softies I know on YouTube.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
called the right wing. He, in my honest opinion, he's way too soft. Just saying, but
He's full of pastries. What do you expect?
What?
Have you seen his face? Have you seen his face?
He looks like Santa. He just needs to grow the fucking beard.
He is a hat short of looking like Santa. But this tabernacle is showing you screenshots, and even back when they first surfaced, I was like, yeah, Arch likes having fun. I get that this is something that's banned from your people's circles until you guys are making the racist slurs and
Fun
talking
machine
about,
broke.
Yeah, and this is the thing here. This is not racism against black people. Chris Rock, a black man, a black comedian, made the dichotomy between black people and N-words. The N-words are basically the redneck culture that of the South that was left over by British immigrants who lost the redneck culture, and those black Southerners have retained that to this day when they moved into the big cities, because the big cities didn't push it out of them anymore. And especially when the left realized, hey, we can use these people and make them dependent because their culture makes them retarded. That's all that is, because it had been proven long before that, even before before the Civil War in the United States, that the black people there, when being taken out of the redneck culture and into it was then the New England school culture, the kids in that became very literate, spoke Latin and Greek, became the first black doctors, engineers, poets, like really great people, politicians, judges, and they were on par, if not sometimes even higher than comparable white schools. So it was never a thing about the race that makes it was never a biological component that made black people worse than the white people. It was simply the culture, this shitty bullshit redneck culture that is something for tribal warfare in medieval times, where you can only live to the next day and you better not stock up on resources, because you just attract people that want to raid you and take it away. So you keep that down. You do not prepare for winter as much as other people, as other cultures later. The thing is, to bring this to a close, is the socialists keep this redneck culture alive today to play all of their bullshit, to tell the black people, oh, it's because you're oppressed and exploited by the evil white people. These evil white people are the Democratic Party themselves that are telling this shit. If you abandon this redneck culture, you become competent people.
This is actually...
That's the thing. And they slandered that by saying, oh, if you don't, then you are acting white. Because they mistake, or they made this false reality that staying in this redneck culture, that's acting black.
Well,
but the redneck culture itself isn't black. It's British.
We could actually look at the argument he's making for the video, or sorry, the game, the book series, whatever you want to call 40K, and actually what's taught in schools, I guess, in America. The American Civil War was not all about slaves. It was about many, many things. And they reduce it to black and white, or, the South had slaves and the North. No, there's many things going on that caused the Civil War. It wasn't just one thing. So maybe it was one thing for some people back then, but there was so many things, like, aside from the election, the abolition movement, it's always states' rights versus federal rights. I'm sure some taxes were involved. The social differences between the North and South. So there's all kinds of reasons. I don't even know them all. I'm just trying to remember from what I heard like last week, because people were arguing that people were selling textbooks from critical race theory people, and they put it all about race. And it was like, wow, I knew back when I was a kid, we were learning about America, that the Civil War was not all about black slaves. Like, that's like, really, there's a lot more to it than that. Anyway, he's doing the same thing with 40K.
What I find hilarious is that he is accusing Arch of defending himself for being exposed, whilst in reality, you're calling him a fascist because he's referencing a stand-up comedian and making fun of socialists on his own Discord server.
Well, because he has to defend social. Oh, he must be bad. He's attacking socialism. Therefore, he's wrong. Everything he does is bad. Gotta make a video about
worst ideology in human history.
Oh.
It's fitting that this guy's British. He has no balls.
Oh. Anyway. Or he has no dentist.
Why he has chocolate oranges.
Anyway. Okay.
All right. Again, I found this really strange. But of
course you did.
What sort of people flocked to my videos to tell me how wrong I was? Well, my video title was talking about the Nazi problem, but here's someone implying it's a problem. Someone else saying, wait, why is it a problem? Another person with an SS logo in their profile. What a crock. Oh, they can't even say.
The SS logo?
There are two Zeke runes behind the skull thing. I didn't see it right away either.
Again, there's nothing wrong with having a fictional story that does or does not involve Nazism or fascism or whatever. You could put any ism you like in your stories. There's nothing wrong with that.
And yes, there are actual neo-Nazis out there. They're just as retarded as you are, Cavernacle.
And they hate the setting just as much as you do, because they don't go hard enough. Again, the fact that they do not practice eugenics is a honest-to-God problem to these people.
Go cry to the ADL. I wonder why they say the ADL and no other organization. As if it's not bad enough of them attacking Steam and gaming.
Because you do not write out every bloody thing there is in existence, but usually just the first. This is a short comment. I can't believe I have to defend this bloody asshole. The ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, is itself a defamation organization that calls everyone a Nazi whom they don't like, because it's another socialist sock puppet.
Yeah, can you imagine complaining? This fictional series has federalistic or feudalistic, or pick any isms that you don't like because, I don't know, you just didn't like the Middle Ages or something. What are they going to do? Oh, you can't sell fictional stories, guys. You're hurting people or something.
What I find hilarious is that these same people will argue that, oh no, if you saw a system that you think is unrealistic or you don't like, then you'd always just complain about it, even if it fits within the setting. Well, I'll tell you right now, yeah, sorry, for Mass Effect, make no fucking sense, because no women-led government could actually lead into the space times, okay? just not realistic.
Well,
I don't fucking care.
I love how he's just reading these comments, not absorbing what they mean. He's just reading them. Why do you think they're saying this, Cav?
The thing is, his counters to these comments themselves are so bad and inconsistent and irrelevant. This is pathetic.
Yeah, implying it's bad. Yes, you aren't.
His complaint is that this guy isn't naming more organizations. The fuck
Yep.
is that? What?
The other thing was just reading the comments. It's like, yeah, why is having Nazis in a setting a fucking problem?
Oh, and before Arch or us being verbose in our retorts, that's bad. Longman bad. But here, Shortman also bad.
Almost like it's a bludgeon.
Ugh.
All right.
Catch
General,
22.
another person with a lightning strike and Oswald Mosley in their profile picture saying, "Where is the problem?"
What does the profile picture have anything to do with it? Maybe he just likes the picture.
There's another Sigrun, so it's another neo-Nazi.
Oh, he's a Nazi because he put a silly red, blue, white Pepsi logo.
Pepsi logo? No, that's a Sigrun.
Okay, whatever. I don't even know. I don't even care. This can't be.
Because you know that the SS used it for their logo, so it's forever Nazi tainted. That's why it's forbidden in Germany and blah blah blah.
Okay.
It's the equivalent of me going, you have orgies in your background, therefore you're a filthy commie.
No.
So essentially, I didn't try and become part of the Warhammer 40k community. I really have no interest in Warhammer.
Wait.
Why are you
Why do you
Thanks
keep
for
talking
admitting it.
about it?
Wait a second.
Hold on. The snake oil merchant finally revealed his wares to be exactly what we suspected it was.
Mm-hmm.
I have no interest in this thing I'm talking about. That is the.
But he knows exactly what
That
he's
is-
talking about somehow. About this extremely at that part of it at least, extremely complex thing.
Okay, I think we're done here. This happens.
Complex
It's
enough to
over.
go
This
over
happens so many times with this guy. He says something which, not really my problem because I don't care. It's not really my bag. I'm not into. So wait a second. You made a 30 whatever minute video telling us there's a problem
about the thing you're not interested
that you don't care about, that you have no engagement with, you don't know much about, if anything, but it has an issue. That's like saying, Africa, I've never been there, but I heard it's really bad, and there's wars, and there's the Congo, and that's malaria. Like, that's bad. Like, why would I listen to you?
We spent an hour and a half giving him the benefit of the doubt, hoping that he would actually make a point, and then he comes out with, actually, I don't give a shit. Okay, fuck you then.
You know, I really
anything
have
he
to
does
thank
care about?
Cavernacle for giving us the encapsulation of his entire life in one sentence.
People are giving this guy money.
It's just, the setup was perfect.
Like,
It should
fools
be-
and their money are easily parted. We've known this for a while.
The setup is perfect. He shows the comments. He shows that these people are going, okay, where's the problem?
Okay.
Like, please explain, extrapolate your thought process. And he goes, well, actually, I never wanted to be part of your community. I don't care about the thing I'm talking about.
I never wanted to be part of your community. Good. We never wanted you.
All right, let's get the stream memes.
Hey, don't you want to make some final thoughts on the video first before we go to stream memes?
No, I want to forget it ever happened, actually.
We just had our final thoughts.
Okay.
All right, so who's this from?
So sad.
Jean-Luc Retard. Hey, thanks, Jean-Luc. Alec Baldwin shot
so-
and killed a woman? Oh, God. Sick conservatives joke and troll. Alec Baldwin over shooting tragedy because he played Trump on SNL. That's not the only reason. Because he shot someone.
Man, I would love to live in a world where I could just commit crimes and have people rent-free to try and defend me.
Like homicide. Oh, whoops. Okay.
And people are like, he didn't do anything wrong. It was a mistake. Whoopsie.
I just
The gun
grab
did
loaded
it."
guns and fire them at people for testing purposes. Like, whoops.
But keep in mind, Alec Baldwin thinks it's us evil right-wingers that shouldn't have the guns because we're irresponsible with them.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
So-
Tyler Preston makes a very good point. We should probably blacklist Kavanaugh for future reference.
I thought we
No.
did.
No,
The
no,
blacklist
no,
is so big
no.
at this point.
So
No,
here's
no.
a great picture of, I guess this is Tabernacle. Met the guy who's responsible for all our problems. He's blaming Adams.
Like, met the guy responsible for all our problems. Picture of Tabernacle.
Yeah.
No, you cannot use melee combat. You need to be codex compliant and attack from afar to minimize casualties.
Well, Smut, if you will allow me to do the response.
Okay.
Haha, chainsaw go brrrr.
Okay. Thank you for that. Oh. But I called you an anti-Semite.
And this gives you power over me?
Let's say hypothetically, I called you an anti-Semite. Okay, folks.
His nose is so big.
Yeah. It's like, that's not the right actor.
That's a bit.
No, his
that
nose is stretched out.
it
It's
is
like
slightly
a-
short.
It is so. It's like a Gma texture.
List of people burned as heretics. You can help by expanding it.
Like burninating the orcs, burninating the Eldar.
Legacy, I didn't know you were black.
Also, the salamanders are my second favorite Green Legion.
Oh yeah, that's a question. How is it so evil fascist if they have black space marines?
Well, the Black Space Marines, who are also the nicest guys in 40k.
Yeah.
You don't count emulation as a war crime.
It's not.
Interesting.
Like, there can't be a war crime if I burn the evidence. Duh. Think about it for a second.
Fan bases, when asked if they would want to be in their fictional universe, Star Wars fans, yes. Harry Potter fans, oh yes, I want to be a wizard. SCP and Warhammer 40k fans, no thanks, I choose life.
Yeah, like 40k fans, like, oh, even in death, I am not free from suffering. Like, cool, great, perfect. SCP fans, like, oh, I can have a picture in my living room for decades, but I happen to look at 4 pixels in the bottom right corner for a little too long, and some lanky ass 11'6" motherfucker is gonna tear his way through like my entire town just to rip me in half because I looked at that from 4 pixels. What? No, I don't want to be in that universe. Thank you very much.
Okay. Warhammer 40,000 fans on the internet, starter pack. Always uses a Warhammer reaction pick. Fan art usually something else converted to 40k. Sailor Moon.
Scooby-Doo the Cyber Mastiff. I love it.
I like that. I like the Sailor Moon. That's my favorite. Canon will elaborate on 40k lore, especially if asked, and also if not asked. Yeah, that's true. Insufferable smugness over being a nerd in one specific science fiction fantasy universe. Yeah, that happens. That happens.
I've spoken to Battletech fans before. I know what insufferable smugness is like.
Okay. Oh no, Star Wars fans lamenting the canon becoming fractured and contradictory.
First time?
Oh, Warhammer. I think that was like years and years ago.
Like, Star Wars has nothing on the level of Marneus Calgar.
Fucking Calvin.
Oh my God.
Been annihilated.
Hey, and since last Friday, Bayonetta fans are on the gallows too.
All right, I'm not going to read that out.
That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you? Faggot.
Oh boy, girls, guess my zodiac sign. You're so sensitive. I'd say Sagittarius. boys.
They're both drunk, by the way.
Guess my favorite legion, Emperor's Children, because you're gay.
Correct. Yeah, if you like the Emperor's Children, you are a fucking smooth-brained faggot.
Then I am a walking rainbow and proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? Oh my god. Don't know if anyone is a Warhammer 40k fan, but I enjoy this exotic Adeptus Mechanis Padoru?
Padoru.
I found in the wild courtesy of imaginary... It's a chibi version of Killing Machine, I think.
Saber.
A tech priest.
Yeah.
It's Saber.
No.
Yeah,
Yep.
that too.
It's
It's
Christmas
Saber.
What?
Yeah, when she discovered Christmas, she was all happy about it.
Oh. Okay.
How could we miss that meme for the past, I don't know how many years now?
Well, no, that was the giant Italian festival. I can't remember what it was called, but they had an inflated
Yeah.
40k
40.
Trump head.
Like,
It
this
wasn't
is supposed...
It wasn't inflated. It was an actual animatronic.
It wasn't inflated?
Also,
It
they
was a
did
giant
this...
animatronic.
Yeah, they did this to, like, make fun of Trump, like, as if this doesn't make him look cool as fuck.
Yeah.
The best part is they had one of Hillary as Slanesh.
Which is
Really?
accurate.
I didn't hear of that at all.
People only post the one with Trump. No, the following one after him is of Hillary as Slanesh. And it's this horrific abomination with tentacles.
Whoa.
There's even more reason to vote for Trump. Of course
there
I'd
it
vote
is,
for
there
the
it
God
is.
Emperor. He's the only one standing between us and unimaginable horrors.
Amazing stuff. Holy crap, that's huge. Those pauldrons
What happened
are
to this thing
gigantic.
anyway?
Oh, hey, my first favorite Green Legion.
Red-
You want to talk about being a faggot and you like the most boring legion?
Oh, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. The only reason the Imperium is not fixed right now is because Lion L. motherfucking Johnson is asleep. All right?
Aboard your gay bar.
Uh-huh.
Just need to kiss him
Okay.
away.
Okay, yeah, your favorite Primarch is somewhere in the Immaterium fucking jerking himself off with sandpaper, right? Meanwhile, mine is gathering his strength, like doing shit, right? Gathering his strength, waiting for the appropriate time to wake the fuck up and fix everything on his own like he did in fucking 30K.
Last time
Right.
I checked, my favorite Primarch died aboard Horse's flagship, so
Oh, you mean Sanguinius?
yeah, I love him.
Okay, yeah. I'll give you that one. Sanguinius went out like a boss.
Yeah. Our spot is on the Simpsons meme with the EU joke. That is the original, the ancient Roman variant of fascism. That's the good form. Stick together. Then you're strong. Everybody made this at some point in history.
I did my part.
Get off my lawn, you little brats. What the hell is that? Is that a Necro? I can't tell.
That's a Necron.
Okay, Necron, alright.
The joke is that they're old grandpas. They're always awakened when people start walking around their stuff.
Yeah, Necron are awesome.
Okay, so we got... I'm not sure what that is.
Wait a minute, are you already past fucking Space Marine Gura?
I don't know what... It's a white and black anime or manga style comic? Some,
Oh yeah, this is Ball Buddy.
yeah, some artists...
Some
Oh
artists
man,
seem to think-
I'd want to make that. I'd want to make that. Gura Space Marine.
Some artists seem to think it's funny to portray elves as desperate for sex and not getting laid. But the Eldari are definitely not elves. Oh, I didn't know that. So we have lots of sex with orcs, and we're definitely not going extinct.
Okay.
Man, I wonder where that Slanesh thing came from.
Smut, if you don't remember Slanesh, the Prince of Pleasure, Chaos God.
I think you told me a lot about him.
Yeah. Yeah, birthed from the fucking elves, like murder fucking themselves for thousands of years.
Till they reach a glorious climax, quote unquote.
Yeah, a psychic explosion.
Smart. What's the name of that sci-fi writer who used drugs? Do you have any idea how little that narrows it down?
That's exactly what I was thinking when Smudge said that.
Yeah.
The South shall come again. What? Okay.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. That's us as the catch and Jungle Fighters. I love it.
I love.
Fuck yeah.
Awesome.
My avatar actually fits with the everything. Operette.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Gura Space Lane. I love.
Yeah, of
that
course, give
Gura
Wisp
in-
the flamethrower.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like Gura Space Marine. There actually is, this is a depiction of the first captain of the actual fucking shark Space Marine Legion, the Kakaradons.
Tiberus, the Red Wake, and he is obnoxiously large. Like, he is big.
Like, this motherfucker makes Thunder Warriors look like fucking Eldar.
He is Primarch size. Like, he is 9-10 feet tall.
No, he's bigger than that.
Alright, but look at like 12. He is huge.
I think like the only person in the Imperium taller than him is the God Emperor himself.
All right. Well, that was all for memes. That was kind of fun compared to the video we just watched. So, holy jeez, this guy just does not stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. Them sweet Patreon bucks.
He's not starting his brain.
There you go. I mean, you don't have
Okay.
to start your brain when you're an NPC.
All right. Well, that was how long did we go for? Let me check. Less than 2 hours. All right, that's fair. Did okay. We always cut it short. We always get pissed off. It's like this guy is just.
You do.
I can't. There's a certain level of intelligence I require, and once he admits that he does not possess it, it's like okay, we don't have to go any further.
And yet you keep coming back to Cavernacle and Maggie May Fish.
I like Maggie. Cav is.
Oh, he said it. He said it. He said it.
I
He
like
fucking
Maggie.
said it.
She,
I'm going
she
to clip
is-
this for later.
She has.
Evidence.
She at least has creativity, and she
And
tries.
nice assets, right?
She
Yeah,
tries
exactly.
a performance, and she knows she's performing. This guy, this is him. He's not performing. He's just. I think this game series called 40K has Nazis. It's like, dude, no. Stop. Grow up.
Let's fucking go with that. Okay, it
Who's
has
the-
Nazis. What else does it have? Oh, it also has socialists and anarchists, and a bunch of other shit, and fungi.
Especially fungi.
It's a giant smorgasbord of sci-fi fantasy, and to narrow it down one thing is insane. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
And then to pull the
It is-
I
it
actually
is-
don't care.
Yeah, it may not be the best written sci-fi because Games Workshop doesn't give a shit,
Yeah.
but it is one of the most filled galaxies.
It's
That's
gigantic.
not-
It's huge.
We haven't even touched the surface. Like, we haven't even gotten into all the other aliens that are around that aren't the actual factions.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, the
Also-
super obscure stuff that you never hear about or that's already extinct.
Yeah,
Or that you have remnants of.
Looks at the smoldering ruins of the Randang.
We haven't
the
mentioned
original-
the Pokemon guy.
The Pokemon guy.
Yeah,
Oh,
who-
Trayson.
Yes, he's amazing. He
he's
goes
fun.
running around and gathers interesting moments and battles to put in time logs to put into his personal little museum.
Like a little diorama of a battle of Acadia, but he has a bunch of people that weren't at the battle because most of the people that were at the battle of Acadia are fucking dead.
Yeah, but he also doesn't care about historical accuracy and just changes the things if he likes them better another way. So he's actually not that.
He's a
great.
walking kid basher.
And I have the big observatory that better nobody ever touches because it can blink out suns into
Yeah,
supernovas.
like you may as well say 40K has a genocide problem. It's like That's the point.
Yeah.
That's why.
Like, don't anger the Necrons. They might just wink you out if they felt like it.
I forget about politics. Like, who cares what organizational system you have to fight the big bad that's going to eat you? Just
Yeah.
like,
That's kind of a big point in 40K is that a lot of the problems with the Imperium that the citizens have about the governors or whatnot takes second, third, fourth, and fifth level of importance compared to the number one issue of, okay, there is a giant xenomorph trying to eat me.
Mm-hmm.
anyway, that was Cavernacle, another pointless video that we feel bad about. And yeah, that's just life. We feel bad about it. We go get a drink. We feel better. We go to bed. We wake up. Go back to
What's
work.
the other guy I keep mistaking him for?
The other guy? What other guy?
Who's also dumb and
Oh,
speaks slow and
that's-
Do you know
the
how
guy
little that
from
narrows
North
it
and
down?
South Korea.
Oh, you
Also-
mean
The egghead.
the other
Oh,
communist,
fuck.
anarchist, whatever the hell he calls himself?
There's even more people like that out there. They're worse.
Renegade
I
cat.
actually cannot remember his name.
Yeah, that
All I
was
keep
the
thinking
name.
of is egg.
Renegade cat.
There we
Yeah.
go. Egg.
Yeah, he again. We liked one of his videos, one of his first few, I guess. That he sounded human, and he was trying to be unique and whatever. And that was like, wow, I can understand what he's saying. He doesn't sound like a robot. It's amazing.
Did we ever cover Jason Unruhe?
Oh.
Possibly. I don't remember.
That the guy looks like Dr. Robotnik, and he takes money from China.
Wow.
And he's even worse than these guys.
I don't know. You'll have to show me a video. But anyway, guys.
He thinks Caesar's
before
Legion
we-
is the perfect embodiment of communism in Fallout.
Before
What?
before we end tonight's stream, I'd like to answer one question from Jacob here that says, not just the aliens, but the raising and everything, the war in heaven, the old ones and their ideas, but also gold nature vanity. Who are the men of stone and of gold? And to that, one answer in regards to the whole men of stone and of gold. That is a made-up myth, intentionally so, by the Adeptus Mechanicus, to increase the mythical level and status of their own organization, because their internal narrative that they present to the Imperium is that they showed up around the 31st millennium, whilst in reality they've been stealing water from Earth for about 10,000 years. The men of stone and of gold are just them self-describing themselves yoinking Earth's water.
But fascism is bad, guys.
Yeah, that's the important part. Not that Earth is having its water stolen by mechanical monsters on Mars. No, it's the fact that there are fascist governments in 40K.
Anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. I think tomorrow we'll have a break, and then we'll get back to our normal schedule. Keep the suggestions coming. Keep the voting going on those suggestions, as well as your favorite game or most memorable moment in your game from a list of 155. We have a link in the description for you to check out if you haven't voted already. I think I'll let it run for the next few days, and then I'll get all the numbers together and put them up on the website so we can all check a look and see what you guys voted on. So thank you so much for your time. We'll talk to you real soon. Have yourself a great evening. Bye-bye now.
Night.
Right?
Go fuck yourself.